Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So guys, in this video we will have our discussion on a concept over where like a lot many astrologers also get confused, or it tend to remain very enigmatic, very conflicting kind of situation, which is about when you will come across a chart over where there are like certain yogas which somehow snatches your free will, and over where some sort of biasness needs to be applied. So guys, I'm talking about like this could be, see, we will discuss list of the parameters, list of the eligibilities of those yoga which I'm referring over here, because if the DNA of the chart is weak, in a way that I always give emphasis to first paying attention to the panchang. Panchang becomes very important. No matter whether you have got exalted planet in your lagan, your ascendant lord is strengthened, but if in the panchang there is certain dosha, then that in itself means that you might have to face struggle. And guys, when I say struggle, do not look at it in this way that just because you're not able to find or like buy a latest car, or you're not being able to rise as per the industry standard, the industry where you're operating, so that means you are blocked. No, I mean to say you're not being able to get married irrespective of how badly you want, and you have got all the list of the requirements, but still it is not happening. This could be in case of the childbirth, this could be in the case of finding the job, or let's say for example there is a pattern going on in your life where people suddenly leave you, or you have been accused of things which you have not done. So all those kind of things over where you do not have any kind of rational explanation that why me, God, why I'm subjected to these kind of situation, over where these kind of yogas and having an idea about that becomes very important. And now guys, even if you come across that you have these kind of yogas in your chart, like if you fall into that category that you have you have been to majority of the astrologers, you by yourself started learning astrology, still you're not able to find out the answer. So I would say that like even if you approach astrology with this mindset that an astrologer or astrology can give you answer to everything, so it's not like that. In certain areas acceptance need to be there, and the job of an astrologer is to initiate you in the path of the spirituality, initiate you towards the devotion to the gods, so that you by yourself will be able to make peace with your life, with your destiny. Because guys, even if you follow any of the good astrologers, like this could be K.N. Rao sir, Suresh Chand Mishra ji, lot many good astrologers, and they all say this thing that the job of astrology is, or of an astrologer is, to maximize your good times, your good fortune, and even if a suffering looks like to be inevitable, to suffer in a very minimum way. So let's just start our discussion. Because guys, why I'm saying this thing, because see, in my case as well, I have shown my chart as a case study lot many times. I am a very strongly 8th house ruled person, and I come from a background, I come from a family environment over where at a time when I used to go to the school and all, we did not have that kind of provision of a school psychologist or child psychologist or something. And every time whenever I'm like giving some hard time to my parents, I'm not listening to them, I'm just rebelling in the house, the very first thing which my mom used to come up with is that let's take him to an astrologer, let's see what kind of planetary dasha he is running which is making him behave or act like that. And I still remember being a mute spectator in an astrologer's office, what kind of things I have listened to. It's all because of the 8th house, because then it is dependent on the interpretation of an astrologer. Because when we talk about 8th house, we talk about 12th house, we talk about planets like Rahu and Ketu, they are all open to interpretation. And that is the only reason guys, people debate about whether Kalsarpa Yoga exists or not. There is no mention of Kalsarpa Yoga. This is not a matter of concern whether Kalsarpa Yoga exists or not. It all comes down to if you have Kalsarpa in your chart, is it a yoga or is it a dosh? Because Kalsarpa in itself, if all imagine individually one Rahu is given so much power to give worldly fame and recognition. Imagine if all the planets are being controlled by excess of Rahu and Ketu, how powerful it will make up the chart. But yes, for good or for bad, that is where an astrologer's divine insight, intent, will come into picture. So okay guys, now a few things which I wanted to bring over here is that like the way we say this thing, that if you are born at a time when nature or the prakriti in itself is unstable, so that in itself is an indication that your life will also have a flavor of that, which could be, for example, if you are born, see anything over where you are in the junction of anything, you are in the north, you are in the middle of anything. So we know this thing that that is the only reason the Gandmool nakshatras are not considered as good. The simple logic to that is Gandmool is a knot between the fire and the water. If you are born in between, this is a kind of a conflict. In the scriptures, the birth at the time of the Sankranti is also not considered as good. It has not seen in a good light. Like at a time when you were born, sun moved the zodiac sign right on that day. Or this could be a case that I keep on coming across lot many charts over there. Like I remember this girl, in her case she has like I guess 3 planets right on the 0 degree. So that means the day when she was being born, 3 planets were changing the sign on that similar day. So that definitely, see, there's a different way of looking at it, that over where we age the planet as per the degree, that okay, this planet is in an infant stage based on the degree, or this planet is in a teenage stage, maturity, adulthood, or dying. See, I do not want to teach you or talk to you on a very complicated terms. Simply put, if your planet is on a 0 degree, that in itself means a day before or right on that day only planet moved the sign. So look at it in this way. As you can see, the whole environment, I just moved or shifted to this new place. That is a different case. I got everything ready over here. Even after that, like initial 2-3 days were like very much subconsciously you're not equipped to a new area, to a new environment, start living and sleeping in a new place. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is the same situation which planet also has to face. So you are born at a time when planet has just entered that territory. And if it is like a pattern, and most importantly, if you are in a long dasha of a planet which is just on a 0 degree, so that in itself makes your life little bit unpredictable. That is the one way of looking at it. Second thing is that if Tithi becomes very important, guys. So we say this thing that the Amavas birth is not considered as good, like new moon birth. And over there, they're like certain Amavas. For example, the Scorpio new moon. So we know this thing that if you are born with the like sun and moon, they both are conjunct in the Scorpio sign. So moon is not only losing its power, its strength, but it is debilitated as well. So it is getting a double beating over there. Now let's say for example with this, if the sun and moon conjunction, new moon is happening in the 8th house, it is happening in the 12th house, and over there as well there's a Sarp Shirsh region. Like if sun and moon are in the Anuradha nakshatra in the 3rd or the 4th pada, then this will make the chart little bit unpredictable. So guys, unless and until you're not paying attention to the DNA of the chart and straight away you're looking at the main ascendant chart and you are like jumping out of happiness that, oh, I've got this Panch Mahapurush yoga, I've got this Raj yogas, but if your DNA is weak, then all what you need to do is that religious austerities, accepting your destiny, accepting your karma becomes very important, because till the time you are not in that acceptance mode and you're all the time in that chasing that happiness one after another, or like if I will be happy, I will only be happy if I'll get this thing, or if I will go to this astrologer, or if I will do this, then I'm gonna be finding a cure, permanent cure to my problem. This is not how it is. There is a pattern in astrology which gets repeated as per the perfect plan, as per the deeds not only done by you, even by your ancestors as well. So that's what I'm trying to say. So that could be one of the case, the way I mentioned the new moon combination. Second could be if see, the thing is the 14th day is equally vulnerable. We say this thing that because 14th, see now again, it's not about the Shukla Paksh when the moon is heading towards the full moon. Here I'm talking about if the moon is like it's a Krishna Paksh, a waning moon, 14th day is equally vulnerable, no matter how good combination you have. And let's say for example, along with that, your 8th house is also afflicted. These people do not get respect within their own family, but also from their in-laws as well. I've seen lot many charts like in certain cases, the guy was even badly assaulted by his own in-laws as well. And in his case, his house was afflicted, and it was the birth close to the time of the Krishna Paksh Chaturdashi, waning moon, 14th tithi of that. So these are the certain things, guys. I'm trying to tell you over here is that if in any way you have these kind of important planet of yours in the junction, that in itself tells about. So Gandmool Nakshatra could be one of the junction. Like the way I mentioned, the way we say that the two middle point of the year could be seen as in terms of the months. This could be March, this could be September. After the like 15 days, this could be Amavas Purnima. Then there could be Krishna Paksh or the Shukla Paksh, waxing moon or waning moon, Ashtami, 8th day, or even if you will further subdivide it, this could be the Bhadra, the Vishti Karan. So if someone is born with these kind of alignment, as an astrologer, then you have to approach the chart initially. Now you got that initial eligibilities that you have to become biased now. Then you cannot say and look at it. See, I'm telling you, I'm a very optimistic person. If it's possible for me, I will even restrict even reading the chart of the like over where there is a possibility of negative outcome. But again, it's just like that. This is how it is in certain alignments. The way I'm giving you reference to these things, like new moon, and especially a new moon where Anuradha Nakshatra, 3rd or 4th Charan, where sun and moon are there. Then there could be the Chaturdashi, like 14th day of the waning moon. Then Gandmool Nakshatra we discussed. Now this could be a case that you are born close to the time of the eclipse, or this could be a case that the eclipse happened and it happened on a specific nakshatra, and just in next 27 days you are born in the same nakshatra. So that could be one of the vulnerability. Or this could be a case that the Venashik nakshatra, that the 22nd nakshatra from the moon. So it generally happens on the 10th house from the moon. So if for example your moon is there in the 4th house, now you must be getting very happy that oh my god, this person is very emotional, whose chart you are seeing. But that makes the Venashik nakshatra falls 10th place from it, which happened to be now your ascendant. And over and above that, if ascendant lord has also gone to the this could be 8th house, it has gone to the 12th house, it is weak, it is afflicted, so then in itself is an indication. So this is how guys you have to approach. Or it's like the tithi share. So for example, you are born in the daytime, so that tithi did not rise in the next sunrise. Like that tithi completely got merged of in between one sunrise to another sunrise, and you are born in that. So not only the tithi will got diminished or wiped out, but majority of the accomplishment or the life's undertaking will also get wiped out. So this is how guys you have to approach the chart. So sometimes what happens is that no matter how much good, decent, respectful an astrologer wants to become, but there are like certain alignments, certain charts over there, you have to approach the chart with a biasness. So let's say for example, if a chart is not prone and vulnerable towards these kind of uncertainties which we have just discussed, then if you will approach a chart and in the same chart where there is no vulnerability of these so-called things which we just discussed, and then in that chart a good dasha is coming, then you can even go slightly 1 or 2 notch higher as well while predicting things. But let's say for example you come across a chart which has got all of these kind of alignments which we have just discussed, and over and above that, that person is about to enter into a bad dasha or a vulnerable pain causing dasha, then you have to approach that, you have to predict that with biasness, over where we have to go few notches down in terms of predicting negative events, because this is what the chart is, this is what the karma, the DNA and the destiny is. As an astrologer, what you can do, see, what you can do is as a guide, a spiritual guide, to motivate that person, show the positivity in the life, initiate that person in the path of the spirituality, surrender and acceptance. That will become very, very important. Because guys, see, I do not want to take out the personal details, because there is one client of mine, I'm sure she must be watching this video. So even we are surprised. She by herself is surprised. Ever since she has got this sun moon combination in like 8 in 12th house, and ever since the Antardasha of the moon came, her life has been witnessing many unpredictable sudden kind of events which are like very extreme in nature. So that's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, that's what the whole video was about, that when you come across any chart, this could be your chart as well. Let's say for example, you have got these kind of uncertainties in your chart, and you watch the videos only from the point of view, you read the combination in this way, that okay, I've got 10th house exalted planet, its dasha is coming, oh my god, I'm gonna be getting the promotions, or I have got a dasha of a planet which is exalted in the 7th house, I'm gonna get married, this and that. So no, you have to first approach the chart with, does your chart have these kind of uncertainties? Because if your chart is uncertain in these kind of things, then that in itself means that there's going to be uncertainty, and you have to approach that with biasness. And yes, bhakti, devotion, surrender, acceptance always help. So yes guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For further more updates and notification on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyavad.